Hi Virgo, welcome to your end of September 2018 tarot update. It's Rena here. I hope that the angle of this is not going to be too off. I think I put my camera on the tripod in a kind of an awkward way, and I'm just going to leave it there for now. I want to show you some cards that came in the mail that I got on eBay. And I was looking forward to these. They're only like about $5, but I'll show you. I'm not going to use them because I found out I didn't know what they were going to look like, and this is how they look like. They have like an Egyptian kind of a theme, but it's just, you know, if I connect to something, I would use them. And Miss Cleo, you know, she's, you know, rest her soul. Gotta love her, but I'm going to stick with my Morgan Greer deck this week. And but I just thought that was so funny. Sometimes you peruse things in the middle of the night, and it says it on the ad, it said as seen on TV. So it was nice and cheesy. Okay, so just shuffling the cards here. Let's see what we got. Funny because this is a little bit of a different way that I have been laying out these cards, and that's good. It's nice to change things up a little bit. So the heart of the matter is the Ace of Wands, and so this is very interesting because in the middle of the month and leading into the end of September, there still is some time for Virgos to really enjoy their solar return, because all of you have, by the end of September, had your birthday. And so that can be very energizing for you. And the new moon is happening and things like that. So the Ace of Wands is a card of new beginnings and feeling, you know, very enthusiastic about these new beginnings. This can be even feeling very independent and doing something that has to do with like an entrepreneurial thing, which would be perfect in September because we're experiencing the a period of time in between retrogrades. You know, there's going to be a period in September and then in like mid-December. So, you know, we've got like this little window of opportunity. And for you, because in addition to that, you have your solar return, it's all good. You know, it's really a great time. So there can also be a relationship with somebody who's a fire sign. So this is, I always associate this card with Aries, but the other fire signs are Leo and Sagittarius. Oh, speaking of Leo, here is the card that crosses you, the Strength card. And so perhaps a Leo person has been, I don't know, problematic in some way. Maybe there was some kind of falling out with somebody who's a Leo. But by the way, I just want to make it clear that it's not necessarily the sun in Leo. It can be that they have Leo rising and they give off this vibe of being a Leo. Maybe their sun is in Pisces and they have Leo rising, so they seem like a Leo, but really they're more like a Pisces when you get to know them. So the other thing about the Strength card in a challenge position, it can even be like your immune system. If you've been feeling like not up to par, it could be talking about your health. It could be talking about, so maybe you have all these ideas and things that you want to do, but you don't feel good physically, or, you know, as strong as you normally have. And this could even be about confidence, that you want to do something for yourself, but you still have these doubts. For sure, you know, Virgo is one of the signs that tends to be very self-critical. And so stop being like that. Don't do that. Be somebody who really is willing to kind of go out on a limb and try something new, even if it might take a while to get off the ground. Or, you know, I have the moon in Virgo, and I can certainly relate to anybody who feels like this, you know, self-consciousness, or just, you know, too much of a perfectionist and things like that. And it can really keep you from doing things because you fear it not working, or that it's not good enough, and you want to do a better job. And the thing about it is, you have to just do it. You know, I know that's kind of corny, you know, like Nike, but the more that you just jump in the water and go for it, and don't worry about it being perfect, the more you'll see that people will accept you, even, and accept what you're offering, even if it's not up to your own standards. Not to say that you should do a subpar job, but there may be some kind of ideal, perfect job that you think that you should do that just is not possible. It's very interesting that the 6th house that you rule opposes the 12th house, that is Pisces, because Pisces is ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is about the ideal. But is it attainable? And I think a lot of times there is this unrealistic expectation that Virgo puts on itself to do something without any flaws, and that's just not a way to become prolific. You know, when you're creating and you're doing so in a very flowing kind of way, and it's consistent, and yeah, it's a shame when people allow that to trip them up. And I think with the Strength card too in the challenge position, it's like, you know, not realizing that this is an inside job. This is not about some kind of external output that you give to the world that has to be flawless, and that really you have to work on yourself. Okay, so the higher message is the Queen of Cups, and this is sometimes this can be a card that it's funny, you know, now that I think about it, this is a card that is connected to creativity. So maybe some of you are artists who are kind of frustrated artists, and maybe you want to really get back into it. And the Ace of Wands is kind of like you feel very enthusiastic about a certain project, and you're going to go for it no matter what. But, you know, those doubts linger, and the Queen of Cups, as the spiritual message, is saying that this is part of what makes us happy spiritually, you know. And even if you're not somebody who considers yourself an artist, creativity, you know, one time I was reading something and it said that, you know, entrepreneurs were creative. And I thought, wow, really? But then I thought about it and I said, yeah, of course they are. Because they're creating something where it never existed before they brought it into fruition. You know, if you think about it, anybody's brand, anybody's business. And it could be a dog walking business. It doesn't have to be something that is some brilliant original idea. But you birthing it is your creativity. And so even if you don't consider yourself an artist in the classic sense, it's about exercising that, and it's a very good way to make yourself feel better psychologically, but also there's a psychic component to it, because the Queen of Cups is a very psychic kind of a sign. And it deals with the spiritual side of life, you know. And when we, you know, gauge our emotions and we feel a sense of frustration and the negativity and those kind of things, I think a lot of times it's coming from a place of frustrated creativity, where we're not contributing to life. We're kind of more the consumers than the creators. And it can be in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be in just one particular way that we do this, but we certainly should, you know, go for it and try to make it happen so that we can feel in the flow. And then we have, as practical advice, the Three of Cups, and this is a card of socializing. And the other thing too about this card is, if you have some kind of a business that you want to launch, then it's very helpful to network, because that can, you know, and it could even be among friends. A lot of times I think people forget that they may have like this wealth of connections just with the people they already know. For some of you, if you're coming out of some kind of a negative situation with a relationship, perhaps you need to contact your friends. Maybe you've been kind of neglecting your friendships because you've been, I don't want to say obsessed with somebody, but immersed in a relationship that has kind of weakened you. I mean, with the Strength card in reverse, even if this is not a Leo individual, this could be that you've had your, I was going to say your soul sucked out of you because of somebody, and that has rendered you weak. With the Ace of Wands, you may feel passion again for life. Maybe it isn't because you've met somebody new. Maybe it's just because you're getting away from somebody who is an energy vampire or something like that. What's coming in is represented by the Two of Wands. So there may be a choice of whether to relocate or stay put where you are. And if this is connected to like a new business opportunity or something like that, you may feel like you have a better chance if you relocate. You know, maybe you live in a place that is out in the boondocks, and you feel like if you live closer to a big city that you would be able to network easier and have more access to clients and whatnot. And there's two ways of looking at it, because if you're out in the boondocks, you might have more quiet, and that would allow you the ability to work better. You know, sometimes those of us who live closer to the city, we have to contend with all kinds of noise. I'm really hoping that you didn't hear this noise that has been going on during this video. I thought I wouldn't mention it because then maybe people wouldn't pay attention. But yeah, I mean, there is something to be said for living in a more rural environment, for sure. But whatever is going on, the number two can talk about some kind of a choice that you're making, and it could be between two people, I suppose. But it's interesting, the outcome is the Six of Swords, so this is about leaving behind some kind of stressful situation, maybe full of drama, and choosing peace. So again, you know, I just gave you the scenario of the city versus the country. It sounds to me like you would choose the country, and of course you're an earth sign, so you connect with the earth more than most, and you are replenished. Now, The interesting thing about Virgo, though, unlike Taurus, for instance, you are ruled by Mercury, so that mental part of you that likes museums and libraries and things that you can, that stimulate your mind, that would be a trade-off. That would be something that wouldn't necessarily be there unless you move to a college town or something like that. So there is kind of like this back and forth that you may have to decide, but you are choosing peace. That's the important thing. And so, but the Six of Swords can indicate physical relocation. So it can indicate that you're moving. Let me think. What is your fourth house? Your fourth house is Sagittarius. So there may be plans in the works, and maybe it doesn't really get going until later this year. You're going to have Jupiter in the fourth house of home and family starting in November, which is great because this expands the possibilities for different places to move to, and actual housing, real estate. You may benefit. Jupiter can even indicate money to be able to do that, and luck, maybe some kind of a lucky break. And then in December, there's a new moon in Sagittarius, so that might be, and that, I think from what I remember, the new moon is happening the day after Mercury goes direct, because that's one of the other retrogrades. I think that might be the last retrograde of a personal planet in 2018 after a year of retrogrades. So that kind of signals forward motion at the end of this year, and so maybe there's going to be some developments at the end of this year for Virgos when it comes to a new place to live. Okay, Virgo, that's what I have for you. So if you'd like a personal reading, there's a link below this video, and I hope you have a great rest of September. Happy birthday. Bye.